So today and tomorrow it will be Salesforce Lightning, and today day 16. Let's see what are we going to learn today. We'll quickly go through the previous session overview, and we'll talk about again LDS, Lightning Data Service, and today our focus is on the program based. In the program based, we will focus on the forceData attributes, forceData methods, and forceData methods getNewRecord, forceData methods, saveRecord. And then we'll see the differences between the record form, Lightning : record form, force : record data, and Lightning : record form. And then we'll have a quiz, homework, and today's interview. Quickly, so what did we learn in last class?
LDS form based.
LDS Lightning record form, Lightning record view form, edit form, and record form.
Right. So last session, we have seen the Lightning Data Service. In the Lightning Data Service is nothing but we use a Lightning Data Service to load, create, edit, or delete record in our component without requiring any Apex code. And we have seen the Lightning Data Services simplifies the access to Salesforce data, which we have seen in last class. And Lightning Data Service improves the performance and user interface constantly. So LDS is divided into two types, form-based and program-based. The form-based is which we have already discussed in the last session. And today we are going to focus on program-based. Today our focus is on program-based. Last class we have discussed the form-based. So in program-based is basically controlling of a Salesforce data using the client-side controller. So similar like whatever the LDS is doing it. So in program-based, we use a force : record data. We use force : record data. So by using this force : record data component defines the parameter of accessing, modifying, and creating a record using the Lightning Data Service. Now, by using this force : record data, I can display the data, I can create a data, I can edit the data, or I can delete the record also. I can delete the record, whatever with the customization we have. Using that, we can delete it and we can save it, we can edit, and we can create the record. So in order to implement force : record data, we have a certain attributes. First attribute is a record ID. So where we are passing the record ID. Next one, we have a target fields. Target fields are, this is a simplified view of the fields in target record. Here, none of the attributes are mandatory. In force : record data, there are no attributes mandatory. So target fields are where you can use a directly object information. Instead of passing it to the specific field, you can pass the target record. Whatever the record is there, from that record, it will try to identify what are the fields are there. So it is basically a simplified view of the fields in the target record. So to reference the record fields in the component markup. So whatever you are mentioning here, you can use it in the component. Similarly, we have a target record. Target record is basically a record. It's a record where we are providing the record. So this attribute contains only the fields relevant to the requested layout type or the fields attribute. Basically, in the target record, I'm specifying the record like a account or a contact. So I'm passing the record here. And we have an error, target error. If there are any error during the execution or any errors are happening, so we can display the error messages in the force : record data. And we have a layout which we have discussed in the other things. Similarly, we have a layout in the force::record data, which is a two type, full and compact. You can use a full if you wanted to display the full fields of the record. You can use it if you wanted to display the only few fields. So by default, the system will take some of the fields if you use the compact. So layout is similar to whatever we have in the previous one. Next one is a fields. As we have seen the fields in the Lightning record form, we can also specify the fields here. We can also specify the fields here. Now, next one is a mode. Mode is whether you want it in the edit mode or a view mode. Now, if you have a question between, now we have here the fields and we have here the targeted fields, right? Fields is nothing but if you are displaying a certain values, if you are displaying a certain values or certain fields, you are displaying it. So it is basically, this field is to query. It is whatever the fields you are mentioning it at the back end, it is going to happen query. The query is going to happen at the back end. What are the fields you mentioned here? Let me show you one example so that you will understand. So both are different here. Fields is nothing but what are the fields I mention it. So if I mention name, comma, billing street, comma, billing city, then what will happen? It will take those fields and at the backend Salesforce will generate a query for that. And only those fields will be displayed on the screen. I mean, the data for those fields, it will be displayed. Now, let's take a requirement. So requirement is, I wanted to implement a Lightning component using the force::record data to display the account name, account phone, account industry, account rating. So these are the 4 fields. Now for these 4 fields, now first what I need to implement, so let me take the paint. Now I need to display the account fields, account name, account phone, and account industry. Now my coding will be, so this is a Aura component. This is Aura component. Aura component. And then we have a ending Aura component here. Now, in between this, I need to divide my component. I need to divide my component. I need to divide my component. So here, okay, so Aura component, in the Aura component, first I need to write a force::record data. So I'll be writing this one, force::record data. So in the force::record data, force::record data. So whenever I'm declaring the force::record data, we have a certain attributes. If you wanted to display the data, then you need to pass the record ID. Otherwise, system will not know what is the record ID. So you need to pass the record ID here. And then we need to pass the fields. Assume that I need to pass the fields here. What are the fields? We have a certain fields in the requirement. Those fields I'll be passing it here. Next, what I'll do is I'll pass the target fields. Now I'll show you if I do not pass the what happens the target fields. If I pass it, what will happen? I'll show you. But assume that I'm passing the fields and target fields both, and then these are the main right now for this requirement. What are the right now the requirement is there? This is to just to display the data. So that means I need a field to store this value field information. API field information, I need one attribute to store the I need an attribute to store these fields. That is the fields attribute. Then we need to use the record ID because which record data I'm showing it here, right? And in force::record data, we need in force::record data, we need another card where we have to use the lightning input, So without lightning input, I cannot display the fields for this force::record data. If I'm implementing the force::record data, I need a card here or I need a lightning input. So by using this lightning input, I can display the fields. For example, label equal to name and value equal to curly braces, we see what are the account, whatever is there, right? So what are the names are there? I'll be displaying those fields here. I'm using here input. Remember, I'm not using the input field. I'm just using the input. So by using the input, I can display the field, whether it is a edit mode or what are the display mode we wanted, we can use that. Now this is what I'm going to implement. These are the one which I'm going to use it. One is the tag, which Aura component. I need another tags here, Aura attribute to declare a certain fields. And then I'm going to use the force::record data. Then we have a lightning input. So this is overall which we are going to implement it in order to implement this requirement. It's a simple one, straightforward. So let's go ahead and implement. Developer console. Okay, so let's go ahead and implement that requirement. So let me create a new lightning component. LC underscore. Let's say that we are creating the force::record data. So force::record data, lightning record page, click on submit. So automatically we'll get the interface, which we are aware of it now. Record ID, I'll be getting automatically from the hash record ID. So I do not need any attribute further to capture the record ID. One attribute which I needed is object. For which object? Aura : attribute name equal to ACC. I'm going to use the some object. So I'll take the type. The type will be object. I'm not mentioning here account. I'm taking the object, which is a S object, right? So I'm just taking it as a object. Initially, we used to declare here account. I'm just taking the object here. I'm not taking the account, or I'm not taking the list or anything. So I have just used the object. Now I can take any object here. That's fine. How system is going to identify it? Because I'm going to place this component on the account record. So I'm going to place this, whatever the lightning component is there, I'm going to place that component on the account record. When I place the component on the account record, it will be automatically captured from the whatever the ID is there. In the ID, first 3 digits are going to explain the system which object. In ID, first 3 digits are going to explain the system which object it is. So it is saying that, so whatever the object is there. So force::record data is capable of capturing that. Now, next thing is that I'll be using force::record data. In the force::record data, we have attributes. So I'll use the record ID equal to curly braces exclamation v dot record ID, v dot record ID. And then I'll use the fields. So the fields that they have mentioned is name. What are the fields that they want? Name, phone number, industry, phone, industry, and let's take a description here. I'm taking the description here. Okay. No, that's it. I'm going to declare only 2 attributes here. Right? This declaration is done. Now, next thing is that I'll use lightning :card. So let me give the title equal to account. And within this lightning card, I'll be using the tag called lightning::input. Lightning::input label equal to, let's say, account name, and then value. Now value, what should I need to take it here? What should I need to take it value here?
v.acc.
v.acc will give the complete record, but I need an account name.
Dot name.
Dot name.
So we will be using the v.acc.name. ACC is an object. From this object, what are the fields that I needed? I'm using it here. So you can take v.acc.name. Let's close this and let me declare account name. Let's take a phone, and then I'll take industry, and the next one I'll take it as a rating. I'll take the rating. This rating is not declared here. Rating is not declared in the field level. Rating is not declared. So let's see how it is going to behave. Title. Okay, so now this component, I'm going to place it onto the account. Let's click on edit page. On the edit page, the one which we have implemented is forceRecordData. Okay. So let me take out this and let me take out this as well. Now I'll use the Lightning force record data here. Okay. So click on save. So let's go back to the Salesforce. Now I have the component here. Now what happened? Is it displaying anything here? It's not displaying. Actually, it's supposed to be displayed. It's supposed to be displayed, but nothing is displaying here. It just built the UI. It just built the UI. It is not giving any information here. So whatever the data that I have mentioned in the Lightning input, that the same data it is taking. Now let me give target fields. Let me give the target fields here. Target fields equal to, I'll take curly braces exclamation v.acc. Perfect. Let's refresh. Now what happened? The data is displaying it. If I add phone number, it will print the phone number. If I add industry, it will take the industry and then I'll update the rating. Okay, let's click on save, refresh. So what happened? It is displaying. That means what the target field does here. So field is the one just for the query. Field just for the query. It does not bring any data there. It is to display the UI on the UI to display the fields. But if you want the data to be displayed, then you have to use the target fields. If you do not use the target fields, it will not display it. Now, the other part is account rating. I already have a value in the rating. I already have a value in the rating. But why it is not displaying it? Because we have not queried the data. We have not queried the data. The rating, whatever the rating field is there, we have not queried it. It is not mentioned in the fields attribute. If I mention the fields attribute, then what will happen? It is going to put that field in the query. Now I can see the value. Now I can see the value in the account rating. Now it is displaying the value in the account rating. Right, so we have used the 3 attributes record ID to know which record I'm trying to print the value. Fields is to query whatever I wanted to print the data or whatever I wanted to fields that I wanted to display the information, display the fields on the UI. Target fields which we needed from whatever the object we are taking it from that. For these fields, what is the data is there where the target fields are going to bring it. Is that clear till now? How to implement force record data?
Swapna,
Yeah.
instead of lightning input, we can use input fields also, no? So then we don't have to use the value, it won't work.
Okay, do you wanted to use the input field then? You do not want to use the value?
Yeah, I mean, let it didn't try.
Okay.
Swapna, if we don't add the field at the top, we cannot display the information in the lightning card, right?
Yeah, that's true. So if you do not mention the field here, the UI will be displayed, but the data won't be displayed. For example, if I remove here rating, so what will happen is the UI field you will see here. So the field will be there. So the field will be here, it is showing it, but the value does not print it. Value does not print it. So you need to mention here rating. If you mention it, then what will happen? It is going to display the data. Right? And another question, if you use the input field, it's not displaying the value. With the combination of forceRecord data, you cannot use the input field. Where with the combination of lightning colon record data, the lightning colon record view form or lightning colon record form. So there you can use the input field, but combination of force colon record data, you cannot use the input field.
Okay. And
Hi, Swapna.
Yes, yeah.
It's a form based or program based.
It's a program based. We are not yet done. It's a program based. This is a very basic level to understand how to use the forceRecord data and what are the combination fields that we have to use it. Now I do not have anything to save here. Whereas in the form based, you are getting the by default the save button and cancel button in the form based. In the program based, you will not get those buttons here.
Ma'am, force record data nothing but it's a hard coded.
Yeah, you have to use it same way, force colon record, all small till now, and the data D capital. You have to use this way only.
It's a hard coded actually.
Yeah.
That
Assume that it's a, yeah, this is the, you cannot say that this is a hard coded. This is a component which is given by the Salesforce.
that is the reason you cannot use the input field, right?
Salesforce does not support it input field along with the force colon record data.
Swapna, this record data, this is this a part of LDS or it's
Yes,
a
it is a
standalone?
part
Different.
of LDS. LDS has it to, LDS is divided into two types. One is form based. Form based, which we have discussed, lightning record view, lightning record edit form, lightning record view form, lightning record form. That is the form based. Today we are discussing the program based. In the program based, the first one which we are discussing is program based is nothing but by using the whatever the developer has implemented using the force colon record data, that means they are going for the program based, because in the program based you will not get a default save, default cancel button, you will not get it.
But what is the difference between force and lightning?
We have that option starting. I have explained that all. Right, we have an option that we are going to discuss.
Okay.
In today's agenda, that is one of the topic. Okay, any other question here? Okay, just for a hint here, right now I have entered the incorrect lightning component name. Okay, assume that I have entered the incorrect lightning component name. I wanted to change the lightning component name. This is, we do not have an option to change in, if you go to the setup and if you go to the lightning component, ideally for the Apex and Visual Force, you will see that there will be option to change it, but in the lightning component, if you go for a lightning component, in the lightning component, and whenever you open any component page, it won't give you the option to rename the component. It won't give rename here. Let me open one. So this is my first Aura component. It does not have any option to rename. Even in the developer console also, I cannot see here. It says new, open, these all things are there, debug. In edit, I cannot rename the component. In the test also, I cannot rename it. If I open the open, and if I select the, here, first of all, we cannot see the component. So how to change the Lightning component name? Now, if I have incorrect name and I wanted to change it, how to do that? So we have a something called here design. We have something called as design. So design is always dot design. Okay, we'll be discussing the design part later, but just for now, it came in my mind. So I just wanted to give you the information here. Somebody asked in the previous session. So if you wanted to change the Lightning component, so what you can do is you can use design colon. It's already there on top, design colon component. You can say label equal to, let's say that I wanted to give LC underscore force. I have given here FORESE. Now what I'm doing, FORSE R data. I'm changing it to the from force record data to the force R data. So let's save it. It's saved perfectly fine. Now what I'll do is I'll go to the, I'll just refresh this page. Empty cache. Okay, in the meantime, so this is the component if you wanted to change this component. Now, so whatever the components that we are implementing here, right? You can see all the components here. So what are the components you see this? How can I query the component? Like if I wanted to know the list of component, everything from the developer console. Everything from the developer console. How can I do it? So it all the Lightning components stores into the Aura definition bundle. All your component stores into the Aura definition bundle. So in this, all your components will be stored. This is a, assume that this is an object. Assume that this is an object. In this object, all your components will be stored. And if you wanted to know that what are the fields will be there in this object is ID, which is a common. And the second field is developer name. Second field is developer name. So you can add this ID comma developer from Aura definition bundle. So what I'm going to do is I'll just query this, select ID comma developer name from Aura definition bundle. So okay, something wrong, Aura. DEFIN. Right. So these all your components. What are the components that you have written? Everything you can see here. Now, in case if you wanted to make changes, you can make the changes from here also. From the design point of view, it will take time. Whenever you change here, it takes some time. It will not immediately impact it. It will take at least 5 to 10 minutes time it will take. But if you want to immediately impact, you can change it from here. Let's say that I'll change it to the forceData. So you can save this record. You can save that row. So next time onwards, whenever you are seeing it, it will be updated forceData. So two ways you can modify it. One is the design place and the second one is from running the query. So right now here it is showing the forceData. forceData, the one which we gave in the developer console, right? forceData. So right now you can see here forceData is displaying it. This is from the design. From the design, it is displaying it, right? Now, whatever we have made in from the query side, it will take that also time. So I think somebody asked this question, is that clear? How to change the Lightning component name? I guess Rana, you are the one asked, right?
Yes, yeah.
Okay. So the easiest way is from the design point of view. From the design, you can just add a label here so that it will be updated.
Thank you.
But Swapna, the file name doesn't change, right? It when I try to open the file, it remains the same, correct?
Yeah. So file name.
Okay.
Close all. Open resource. If you want the file name to be changed, then you have to change it from the query. If you want to change the UI part of it, then you have to change it from the design. From
Okay.
here, if you wanted to change, then you have to make the changes in the design. But if you wanted to change the file name here from the query, you can run it.
Okay.
So the query is, I'm going to ping in the chat. So next time onwards, when you refresh, you will be able to see the latest one, which is modified from the query. Okay, now back to the force::record data. So force::record data with the combination of input, you will be able to see the fields in the UI. Now, if you use input field, it will not work. And if you do not use the target fields, the data will not be displayed. The data will not be displayed. If you use the fields, what will happen? This is just for a querying purpose, it is used it, but in order to display the data, you need a target fields here. Now back to the hours. So this is done. Now we are moving on to the methods. Why do we have a methods in the force::record data? Because by default, force::record data does not have a saving the record, does not have a creating a new record, or does not have deleting the record, or does not have updating the record. Those options by default, it is not available for the force::record data. Now, if you wanted to implement those DML operations using the force::record data, then you need to use the certain methods in the force::record data. So we have one of them, which is called as a getNewRecord. getNewRecord. This is to create new record. That means initialization. That means you are doing the account A equal to new account. Right? Initialization. For the initialization, that means you want some space to be allocated in the memory, and you are planning to create a new record for that. So for that new initialization, we use a getNewRecord. getNewRecord. Next one is to save the record. To save the record, we use a saveRecord. This is to save the whatever the current record is there, only that current record it will be saved. And the next one, to delete it, you use the delete record, and we use the reload record. Reload record is nothing but basically it is again loading the same component based on certain fields. If you wanted to reload the component, so that means you are again loading the same component. If you wanted to do that, we will use the reload record. But this reload record, we do not use in the real time. In the real time, we do not use it, because when I reload it, what will happen? The entire component will be reloaded. That means if, for example, I have a 10 fields here and user has entered up to the 5 fields. Right, based on the 5th field, I wanted to reload the record. So what will happen? It will reload entire component. So which is going to disturb the first 5 fields also. So which is very rare in a sense. If I'm calling from based on the 5th field, I want to call the some other component. Right, and if I wanted to load only certain page, not entire component, in that case, we use a reload record, which is a very rare in the real time. We do not use the reload record. Mostly we use the get new record, save record, and if any of the requirement is for the delete record, then we use the delete record. So this is, we do not use it in the real time. Now today we are going to see get new record and save record. Now for the get new record, so get new record, to create a new record initialization. So whenever I'm initializing the get new record, we have a certain attribute within the get new record. There are certain attributes are there within this get new record. So whenever I initialize get new record, so where will I be initializing this get new record? What are the methods are there? These methods we will be writing in the controller. We will be writing in the JavaScript controller. We will not be writing in the HTML. What are the force::record data is available? The methods will be written into the .js, the controller. What are the client-side controller is there? We will be writing in the client-side controller. So if you are implementing get new record in the controller, we have to use a certain attributes. One is object API name, where you will be mentioning your object name. For example, if it is an account, you will be mentioning the account. If it is a contact, you will be mentioning the contact here. If it is a custom object, you will be mentioning the __c, like a patient __c, right? So for the custom objects, we have a ending with __c. So object API name, it is must, we should specify. And then we have a next one is a record ID. Next one is a record ID. In case if you wanted to use the record ID, if you are creating a new record, a record ID is not required. If you are creating a new record, then record type ID is not required. Then what should I need to do here? This is also must. You need to mention the record type ID. Record type ID need to mention. But for example, if I'm creating a new record, when you are creating a new record, mention the record type ID equal record type ID. You have to mention the null. The second parameter for the get new record is null. In case if you are creating a new record, first parameter is object API name. So object API name, you can mention what are the API name of the object. And the third one is a skip cache. This is a Boolean attribute. So force a trip to the server, skipping any local cache. If you wanted, if you have a lot of cache which is going on at the backend, if you wanted to clear out, you can use it as a true. But if you are implementing any small component, usually we write a false. This is also mandatory. This is also mandatory. You need to specify this. So ideally, we use it for the false, for the small components. But if you feel that because of cache something is occurring here, the data is not reflecting because the data is already stored in the cache. And every time I refresh this component, I need a new data to be displayed. In that case, you can use the true. And the next attribute is callback. Next attribute is callback. So in the callback, so callback is, which is very important. All four of them are important because whenever I'm initializing the getNewRecord, I should know the object, I should know the record type, I should know the skip cache, and I should know the callback. So callback is basically, it's a callback function to whenever you are creating a new record, right? So callback function to be invoked after new record template is retrieved. Once the new record template is retrieved, then if you wanted to do certain actions there, if you wanted to do some logic based on that, once we retrieve the callback, then we have to use a callback. So how do we implement a callback declaration? How do we implement callback declaration? So whenever you wanted to use or whenever you wanted to go with the callback function, we always have to use $a.getCallback. Whenever we wanted to use the callback function, we always have to use the $a.getCallback. So $a is a namespace here. $a is a namespace. So this is a namespace, is the entry point for using the framework in JavaScript code. And get callback, we are using it, right? This is the get callback. So for what purpose? We have a callback attribute here. So in order to implement this callback attribute, we have to use the get callback and then open and closing parenthesis. Then we have it within this function. Function is a default. You have to write a function. Can I write any other name instead of a function here? You cannot write it. Function is a hard coded. Once we have written the function, then open curly braces, closing curly braces. Open curly braces, closing curly braces. So here $a.getCallback, what it does, it will ensure that the framework re-renders the modified component and process any enqueued actions. So that means anytime developer wants to do something asynchronously, anytime developer want to do something asynchronously and later we want to able to later be able to update the component values and or fire the event, then we use the $a.getCallback. So it holds the value which runs asynchronously, So whenever you wanted to use the callback function, always use the $a.getCallback, capital C, call back, and then open close. And then within the open close, we have to mention the function open close, and then we have a curly braces. Now, if you wanted to, based on the callback, like once you retrieved, for example, for the new record, right? For the new record, you need to retrieve a template or some kind of a, which is going to provided by the system, right? The template is retrieved. So when template is retrieved, you wanted to implement some logic. That logic you can write within this curly braces. So $a.getCallback is for whenever you are modifying the component or whenever you are creating a new component, or if you wanted to run something in the asynchronously, that means it is going to stay in the enqueue action. So the process will stay into the enqueue action. That means it is going to run and later we can use it for any components update or later if I wanted to execute anything. So for that we use a $a.getCallback and the function is, you have to use it You cannot use any other keyword here. Within, after this function, we have a curly braces. Now, in case if you wanted to implement any logic here, if condition, then else condition, you can write anything here. Now you can write any logic that you wanted to implement it for the get callback. Once it is callback is done, then I wanted to check these conditions. You can write those conditions within this function curly braces. Now let's go ahead and see one example. So syntax will be getNewRecord. So it has a open close. And then within that, we have the object API name and the record type ID, skip cache, and then you have to mention $a.get callback. So $a.get callback has a parent close, open and close, and within that we have a function. And then after the function, we have a curly braces, open curly braces and close curly braces. Right. So let's see the requirement. Implement Lightning component using the force::record_data to create a new contact. So contact first name, contact last name, contact phone. So we need to create a new contact here. So let's go ahead and implement it. For creating the new contact also, what I'll be doing is so similarly, I'll be implementing a Aura component. Within this, I need to implement a force::record_data. In the force::record_data, I need to mention the fields, target fields, or the record, target record, everything I need to mention. And then below, I need to use the lightning card along with the. So here we have a force::record_data, which we will be using it. And then here lightning card, which has a lightning::input. And as well as along with this, I need a lightning:: button. Because okay. So I need to create a record. Now lightning input is to display the field and then lightning button is to save the record. These two I need it, and the force::data, which I'm going to use it within the force::data, whatever the attributes are there, those attributes I'll be using it. Now, getNewRecord, whatever the getNewRecord is there in the force::record_data, right? So getNewRecord, I'll be calling the getNewRecord will be implemented in the controller. This is controller. This is controller. Here I'll be implementing the getNewRecord. Right? So when I'll call this getNewRecord, onload of the component. Onload of the component. So how can we implement onload of the component? If I wanted to call the getNewRecord onload of the component.
Aura handler.
Aura handler. Name is
Init.
Do init attribute.
Action.
Value equal
to curly braces,
This.
explanation, this,
The.
and then action.
equal to
I'll
curly
be calling
braces.
that method. On load of it, I'll be implementing the getNewRecord. So this is on the component and this is what I'll be implementing the controller. Now let's go ahead and implement it. So file, new lightning component. Now LC underscore force record data. Lightning record page and click on submit. Oh, perfect. So interface is auto added because I clicked on the checkbox. Now I need an attribute for the object, Aura colon, attribute, name equal to, we are going to create a contact. So I'll take a CON and the type, I'll just mention the object. Object. Now this is perfectly, it is done. Now next one is I need a Aura handler. Aura handler name equal to init and the value equal to exclamation this and action equal to curly braces exclamation C dot do init. Let's give to init. Okay, so Aura handler is done. Now the next one is I need to implement the force colon record data. Force colon record data. So in the force colon record data, I'm creating the new record. I'm creating the new contact record. So if I give a record ID here, I don't have a record ID because I'm going to create a new one. So I do not have a record ID, so I'll not be using the record ID attributes. The other attribute which I'm going to use is fields, last name, first name, phone. And then we need a target fields. Target fields equal to, we have a phone object. And after the target fields, no, we have another attribute called target record. We have another attribute called target record. I'll not be mentioning the target record. I'll show you how it is going to behave if I do not mention the target record. Now this is done. Now I have mentioned the fields, I have mentioned the target fields. Now the next one is I'm going to implement the lightning card. Lightning card. So let's say title equal to create new contact. Create new contact. Now within this new contact, two things which I needed. One is I need the button and another one is I need the lightning input. So lightning input, lightning colon input, and I'll take the label equal to contact, first name. So value, what will be the value here?
Contact.
V dot
Contact.
con
Dot
dot name
first name,
last name.
not first.
First name, and then I need two more input fields. So which is a last name.
Last name,
Come here, ma.
And finally we need phone.
phone.
Okay. So fields are done. The next one is I need to display the button. So in order to display the button, I'll use Aura colon set.
Action, attribute equal to action.
Actions. Within this, I'll use the
Colon button.
Button.
lightning colon button. And we have a label equal to save.
Value equal to
Y value. Button we are implementing.
On click.
On click equal to
Exclamation.
Exclamation. C dot handle. Save. Ma'am, attribute spelling.
where is the attribute?
Aura set attribute. Aura set.
11th line. 11th.
Fine. So I'm done with the record data. I have implemented the card where it has a input and where it has a button. Now let me place this component first into the, I'll place it onto the account level. Click on edit page. Force record data. We could not display do init. Okay, it's not allowing me because we need to implement do init. So let me go ahead and add this controller. Do init, let's say. Delete, refresh. Okay, so let's place this force colon record data. Let me take out this. Okay, perfect. So let's click on save. Now let's go back to the record level. Now it is empty because we are creating the new record here. Now, what I want is on load of this component, I wanted to call getNewRecord, and then let's verify what is the information it is getting here. Let's get the information. Now, this is the do init. So how do I find it? Basically in the do init, if I wanted to use the getNewRecord here, getNewRecord, for which one I'm going to use it. Assume that I have a multiple force colon record data here. Now for which one I'm using the getNewRecord. So for that, in order to identify that, we need Aura ID here. We need Aura ID, Aura colon ID equal to, I'll say REC record. Let's click on save. Now, so here what I'll do is first I need to find out the component, for which component we are implementing the getNewRecord. So what I'll do, component dot find the ID is REC. Then I'm going to use the method getNewRecord. Method getNewRecord. So this inside this get method getNewRecord, we have attributes, or you can say parameters, anything. The first one is I need to pass the object API. So I'll be passing the contact. Next one, record ID, I need to pass it, record type ID. So right now I do not have any record type ID. So I'll use none. And the third one is skip cache. So skip cache is if you wanted to remove the data from cache and you wanted to refresh, you can use the true. For now, I'm going to use the false here. We are implementing a small component. And the last one, which we have a callback. So for callback, how are we going to implement it?
$A dot
A
call.
dot
$A
A
dot
dot get callback,
get callback.
callback,
And
Function.
within
then
this,
function,
Curly braces.
curly braces open.
Curly.
perfect. So this is done. This is a basic declaration. This is basic declaration. Now, so nothing is happening here. We are just creating a template here. Empty record, the new record template is created. The new record template is created. Now, if I give whatever this con is there, right? Whatever this con is there, I'm not specifying here contact. I'm not specifying the contact there. I'm just mentioning the object. I'm just mentioning the object. Nowhere it doesn't say that it is a contact object, it is a account object. It does not say anywhere. I'm mentioning the type equal to object. Now what I'll do is within this curly braces, I'll try to get component dot get v dot whatever the attribute we have, right? This is the attribute. Let me store this value into the var. Let's take contact info equal to. Now let me print this value. System dot, sorry, console dot log. So contact information plus, let's refresh. Now when this is going to execute on load of the component, it is going to execute it. Whenever I'm refreshing it, on load of it, it is going to execute it. So let me refresh all my console, then refresh empty cache hard reload. $A dot console capital C, small c it should be. JavaScript case sensitive. Refresh. So basically it is object, something is there, right? So that means some empty array is created. Assume that empty array or something that empty is there, which has a empty. In case if you wanted to know more about what is this object, how can we decode that? If you wanted to decode the object, how can we decode it?
JSON stringify.
JSON dot
Stringify.
So if you wanted to debug, go to the component here, open the component. Aura and ours is, let me come back again. So component, where is ours? Okay, in case if you are not able to find your component here, and if you wanted to debug your component, but you are not able to identify where is the component, the better way is put debugger. If you add a debugger, what will happen? Automatically, it will break at that point, but do not push with the break. Do not push writing this line of code to the production. So this is for developers to debug it. So when you write a debugger, what will happen? It will debug at that point and automatically your cursor will go to there. But once you are done, remove this debugger. Whenever you are pushing to the production, remove this. And what happened? Everything is created with empty here. See, everything is created empty. Account equal to null, AD equal to null, everything is data is null. So owner details are there because owner details by default Salesforce capture it. You need not to mention owner here. Whenever you are creating a record, owner need not to be mentioned. Owner is automatically captured by Salesforce. That is a Salesforce functionality or Salesforce work to capture the owner whenever they are creating a new record in Salesforce. Now what happened? Empty array is created. Empty array is created. Now on load of it, I wanted to display the pop-up message. I wanted to display a pop-up message saying that something contact initialization is successful or not. Okay, so right now I see that ACC is, so this entire information, it has some object information is there. So what I can do is I can write some more logic here. I'm writing all the logic within the get callback. I'm writing all the logic within the get callback. I'm not writing in the outside of the get new record. All the logic is written in the get new record. So here what I'll do is I'll just for the testing purpose, I'll add if else condition here. If else. So what I can do is if whatever this equal to null, that means it is not yet created any empty array. In that case, I wanted to show alert. Let's say contact initialization failed. Else, I'm going to display the alert message, it is successful. Where I'm writing within the get new record. Let's see. Now let's refresh. Contact initialization is success. Contact initialization is success. Okay. I'm just thinking that why it is not showing my component. Okay, I'll come to that later. Fine. So for now, let me comment this. Okay. So right now on load of it, what is happening? It is displaying the alert message contact initialization is success. Now from where this alert message is coming, this alert message we are displaying from the get new record. We have written the logic within the get new record. All the logic is written here. So once the callback is successful, then I wanted to execute this logic. So like this in the real time also, we will write a logic within the callback. Within the callback, we will write it. Now I have entered the information here. So I have entered the information, new contact, phone number, some phone number, and click on save. Will it save? It will not save because we have not written any code on the save. Whenever we click on a save, we have not written any logic to save the record. So new contact, does the new contact, can we see here?
No.
We cannot see because we have not written any logic for the save. So let's go back to the component. So this is our function name. So comma, between the each method in the controller, you have to specify the comma. Then you can write what are the next method or next function is there, you can write it. Now, for the save, we have a method in the force::record data. We have a method called saveRecord. We have a method called saveRecord. So everything is happening on where it is happening, everything is happening only on basis of this, right? Because everywhere we are referring the REC. By using the force::record data, I'm doing the getNewRecord. Also, I'll be doing the saving the new record. So saveRecord is to save the current record. And here also we have a callback. Callback function invoked after new record is retrieved. After new record is retrieved. Now here callback will be, we do not need to write anything $a.get something. We need not to write anything here for the save record. Save record is just straightforward because once the record is stored there, what it does, record is saved in the database. So when I click on the save button, what happens? So when I click on the save button, it is going to cross verify. Now, as soon as I click on the button here, it first save the data into the database. It first save the data into the database. So whenever it is saving the data into the database, it returns back to the controller. What are the controller we are writing it? It returns back to the controller. In the controller, we have a something called state, response.state. We have something called response.state. So if this state equal to success, that means the data is stored into the database.com. If status equal to error or some undefined or something else, then what is that? It is not saved in the database.com. There is some error. So we need to always check in the JavaScript. In the JavaScript, we need to check whenever we are using the save record, we need to check the response. What are the response we are getting it from back? So save will send the request to the database.com. Database.com perform all the DML operation and it will send the response back to the controller. So when we receive the response back to the controller, we need to check response.state. So state has a different options here. If it is a success, then we can, that means the data is stored correctly or properly in the database.com. If it says incomplete, if state equal to incomplete, if state equal to incomplete, that means it is not stored in the, it's not stored in the database.com. There is something, half of the things are stored, half of the things are not stored, or it is having some issue there, or maybe internet connection gone. So those scenarios we will see incomplete. Error is nothing but while saving the data in database.com, there is an error. The problem saving the record. Right, so these are the couple of options for the state. Success means it is perfectly done in the database.com. Incomplete means either user went offline or something device is disturbed or a network issue in between. During that time, what happened? The half of the process is done, half of the process is left. Error is nothing but while storing the data in the database, there is some error occurred. So these are the three main states we are going to verify in the real time. In the real time, we are going to verify these three. So now let's go ahead and see this. Now let's see the syntax first. Okay. So syntax will be just straightforward. So you will be having a save record. And then within this, we'll have a function and curly braces. And within this curly braces, you can write any logic. Within this curly braces, you can write any logic here, whether the state is success or not. Now here, save record function. After function, we have this, right? So within this, we have a parameter called, one parameter will be there within this. You can write any name here, RES or a response, anything you can write it. Because based on this parameter, we will be checking whether it is successful or not. Whether it is successful or not. So save record function, within the function, we need a one parameter response, because what are the responses received from the database.com to the controller? That response will be holding this parameter will be holding the response. Now let's go ahead and see. Now let's go to the controller. Now I need to implement save record for this record data. So that means I need to use component.find. I need to use component.find. Component.find, then we have to use the REC, right? Similarly, this component.find REC. Then dot, then we have to use method, the force::recordData method called saveRecord. So in saveRecord, we have a function. And within the function, there is a parameter called response. Parameter called response. Now here in this response. So once the response is received, then I need to cross verify what is the state of the response. If I'll add if condition, then I'll add the else condition. Right, so I'll add the if condition, then I'll add the else condition. Now inside this if, I'll check the response. What are the responses there? Response dot state. Response dot state equal to. Now, if you don't know what is this, I need to use it. So what you can do is you can print the response. You can print console dot log response. But this console.log response, you have to write within this. Because once this logic is executed, then only you will have a response. Now here, what you can do is you can add JSON.stringpy. And then you can add the response so that you will know what is the response we are getting it. So response.state equal to. So what I'll do, I'll add success. So if it is a success, then I wanted to show one alert message saying that contact is created successfully. Alert, contact is created successfully. Otherwise, error. creation failed. Let's see. Perfect. So this is for saving the record. For save the record, if it is a success, then go here, contact is created successfully. If it is not, then failed. So both of the time it is going to give the error here. Now let me refresh. Contact initialization success. Now I'll say here first name Panda, contact, and let's give the phone number and click on save. Contact creation is failed. Why it is giving the contact creation is failed? Now let me check the contact. So it is created the Panda contact, but still it is giving me the creation is failure. What is the reason here? There is something which we have written incorrect. What is that? We need to write the state equal to success. What we have written there, we have written the small letter. It has to be always capital. If you say always capital, so right now, how did I get it? Because I have printed the value. So I'm printing the response. When I printed the response, see, this is the response that I got it. So here it says state equal to success and the record ID equal to this, and then entity API name, contact, and all this information it has given me. All this information it has given me. So I have a record ID also. So what I can do here, I can add one more thing, created, and I can give response dot record ID because I have a record ID. So I can print the record ID. So it is giving me the record ID. So perfect. So here, in case if it is a failure, then I'm going to show the response dot error. There is a field called error. Now let me go ahead and refresh it. Contact info is null. I will be adding the apex. Last name Mark. Then the phone number, some phone number. Let's click on is save. So contact is created successfully. This is the ID. And here is the response that we are printing it. Right, contact is created successfully and this is the ID. If I go to the here, I have created apex mark. It should be starting. Yeah, here it is, apex mark. Right, so this is how we will be doing it for the handle, for the get new record and save record for the force::record data. For the force::record data. Now, what is the differences between the Lightning record form, force::record data, and Lightning record form? Okay, so before moving on, any questions on this code?
Ma'am, can you tell like JSON string if once, ma'am? I can't understand.
Okay, so if you do not mention JSON.stringify, let me add one more console.log here. So which I'll remove the JSON.stringify here. Response without JSON. Okay, so let's click on it, save. Let's go to the Salesforce. Okay. Now. First name Cody. Test. And the phone number, some phone number, click on it, save button. Now click on OK. Now, if you observe here, response without JSON will be giving like this, object. You don't know what is the value sits there because it's an object. That is a object data type. If you wanted to decode that object data type, within this there is some data which is sitting. In case if you wanted to decode this, then you have to use with JSON. If you decode it, you will be able to see what is the actual data that sits behind this object, which is hidden, right? You can see all this information. Clear?
That means for developer purpose only, it is optional, right, ma'am?
Yeah, only for
Not
developer
mandatory like
purpose. Yeah,
Just
only
we have to check.
development.
Okay.
In order to developer is confused, like I wanted to know the home phone number. Okay. If I wanted to know the home phone number, I cannot know it from the object. And if I wanted to debug and identify, then first I need to decode that. If I decode it, I can able to identify what is the value of home phone.
Okay.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay. So let's go on. So yesterday, in last class, we have seen the Lightning record form, Lightning record view form, right? And Lightning record edit form we have seen. Now today we will see what is the differences between the force::record data, Lightning::record edit form, record form. Record view form is a normal. So if you understand this Lightning record form and Lightning record form, then you can able to understand the Lightning record view form. So I have taken only two things here. One is a Lightning record edit form and another one is Lightning::record form, which I'm going to compare it with the force::record data, which I'm going to compare with force::record data. So in force::record data, why we use it? We use it for the create, edit, update, and delete a record without writing the Apex code. We can perform all the DML operation. I can create it, I can edit it, I can update it, I can delete it. Whereas Lightning::record edit form, Lightning::record edit form, using that we can create, edit, update, and delete a record without writing the Apex code. And whereas record form also, we can do all of this. We can do all of this. Just a second. Okay. Now, second one is by using the force record data, we can perform save or delete operation on the record. And we need to write a controller in order to implement the save a record or a delete a record, right? We need to write the controller here in the force record data. So in case if I wanted to do the save, then I need to call the save record controller from the control. We need to call the controller, and from the controller, we need to call the method called save record. If I wanted to delete a record, I need to call a method called delete record method. Right? By using this only, we can perform the DML operation in the force record data. Without using the method, I cannot be able to do it in the force record data. And here in the lightning record edit form, to perform a save operation, we just need to define a submit button. I need not to write anything logic in the controller by using the lightning record edit form. Right? By just defining the submit button, I can able to do it. So as soon as I declare a submit button, if I'm using the lightning record edit form, automatically Salesforce is taking care of everything. Now in the record form, to perform any operation, we need not to define anything. Even submit also, I need not to define anything. I need not to write any button or nothing. I need not to be doing anything. So the form will automatically submit on clicking on the save button. So if I use the lightning record form, automatically the two buttons save and cancel will be enabled. And I need not to write the button in the component. I need not to write anything in the controller. And in the force record data, it uses an attribute of object. Whenever we are declaring an attribute, type equal to object we are mentioning, which is a set of the records which loaded or being saved. I'm not mentioning the type equal to account or type equal to contact. I'm not mentioning for the force record data. So whenever we are implementing a force record data, we have to mention the type equal to object. Whereas in the record form, it does not need any attribute to store the record or being a saved or loaded. We can directly specify the object inside the lightning record edit form. Whereas the record form, similarly, it does not need any attribute. Specifically, I need not to declare anything. If you want, you can use it, but by default, on a basic level, you cannot use it. And in the force record data, we need to explicitly use the lightning input to display the data. Whereas the record edit form, you can use the input field or output field. Whereas the record form, you need not to mention anything. Automatically, it will be displayed. You need not to implement a lightning card here. Lightning card is not required for the record form. Whereas for the force record data, it's need. It required, you need to explicitly mention the lightning input. Now, final conclusion, when to use the force record data, when to use the record edit data, when to use the record form data. So developer use this force record data when they need to access. They need access to a record for operation like edit, update, delete with a simple layout. And they wanted to do more logic they wanted to write in the controller. That means once I get the output, once I retrieve the response, I need to perform some other logic within the controller. During that time, we use the force record data. Whereas lightning record edit form, we use this component when we need to provide the proper user interface. That means I need a similar like a Salesforce standard, edit, save, update, record. In that case, I can use the edit. But if I say that I need an edit as well as I need a view form, both I need it. So in that case, read only and the edit, then you need to use the record form. This user interface in this component depends upon the layout that you choose, whichever the layout you wanted. And one of the drawback in the force::record data is, so force::record data is used as a constructor for the Salesforce Aura component. It is just like a constructor, we use it. In the real time, we will not implement any component. We will not be writing the, whatever I'm implementing using the lightning : record form or a lightning : record edit form. Whatever I'm implementing using that will not be implementing same with the force::record data. No, we are not going to use this. In the real time, we use a force::record data like a constructor. That means on load of the component, I wanted to load certain object fields information because I'm going to further implement some logic by using this. For example, I'm on the account record. I have implemented a component for the contact, but I need a data for the account. Based on this account, I need to capture the record ID, and I need a fields that are there inside this. Certain fields I need it, and I need some information. For that, I'll use the force::record data. But for implementing a contact here, view record, edit record, I can use the lightning : record form. So combination of force::record data, lightning : record form, both together I can use it. For component implementation here, right, I'm on the account, but I wanted to implement some component which is not related to the account, something related to the contact or some custom object I wanted to implement. But in order to implement this custom object, I need a certain data from the account. In that case, what we will do is we will use it, two components we will use it. One, I'll use it for the force::record data. Force::record data. This is for, I need it for the account ID. And then I'll be implementing a lightning : record form. This I'll be implementing for the actual creation or edit, whatever I need it, I'll be using it. So that's what I have mentioned here. Force::record data is used to constructor for a Salesforce Aura component, which is used to either get or create a record. Constructor is nothing but on the load of it, you wanted to capture some information. Now, force::record data is useful when we are working with a single record. That means if you are on the account record, okay, if you are on this account record, you are interested only this particular record. You are not interested about the all 30 account records or all 50 account records. If you want that logic, force::record data, we cannot use it. We can use the force::record data for a specific account, for a specific record, wherever you are in. If that a page has a record ID, then we can use this force::record data whenever we are working with a single record, not useful for the bulk record. Is that clear? Now, why I have implemented this component using the force::record data if you do not use it in the real time, because we should know that how it is working. Sometimes developer, instead of using the lightning : record form, they use it the force::record data. So anything should be fine. Any questions till this point? Okay, so homework: implement lightning component using the force::record data for object, account, and the fields name, billing city, billing street, display the read-only data. So display the read-only data. This is on the account page. On the account page, capture the record ID. So this is whatever this component is there. This component is on the account page. So in this account page, we have a account data here. This is the activity. So in this activity, display this card. So for this, you need to use the lightning card, and the icon, you have to use it. And for this, you need to use the lightning input. And use the force::record data in order to capture the data, in order to query the data or query the field. Clear? Okay, so let's move on. Homework 2, implement a Lightning component using the force::record data to create new record per object. Lead, object is lead, fields are last name, company, street, city, zip, country. So this is for creating a new record. Homework 3, implement a Lightning component using the force::record data to update the existing record for object, opportunity, and the fields are opportunity name, stage, close data, close date, type, lead source. And once it is updated, show the success toast message. Okay. Regarding this success toast message, do not go for it. Tomorrow I'll explain this. So do not use this. So do not use this. Success message I'll show tomorrow. So the conclusion, what did we learn so far?
LDS program based
LDS,
forceData.
program based,
forceData
forceData,
methods. getNewRecord, saveRecord.
methods. And then getNewRecord, saveRecord, differences between each of them. Now question, what is $A.get callback?
Which is
callback attribute.
Okay.
Entry point. Retry the report.
the callback function, we will use $A.
It's a asynchronous. So in case if developer wants to do something asynchronously and later we wanted to be updated some component value, then we use get callback. Nice. So what is the use? When to use the force::record data and when not to?
When we need to implement create record.
Create, delete, edit, or those information, we use that. So basically it is a constructor for Salesforce Aura component, which you can gather the information or get the information or create a record. What is target record? Okay, this is, we have not discussed. We'll see that tomorrow. That's all for today.